and we are officially live, broadcasting only on onedealaway.com. My name is Nev. This is Money Matters, and as you saw, we are going to be talking a little bit about some challenges within crypto. But today's episode, we are going to be also talking about the future of money. We're going to be talking about the dollars, what people are saying. Is it going up? Is it going down? Should you buy it? Should you sell it? Gold. What's going on with gold? Is it going up? Is it going down? What's going on? And then, of course, crypto. What's happening over there and what the beliefs are. And here is my thing. I have no clue which way this is going to go. So in case you're saying, I got to watch this guy because he has a crystal ball, sorry to disappoint you. I don't have a crystal ball on me. Never had one. As I always say, mine broke years ago. But if you have an idea of what's going on and can sort of show the proof, hey, I will listen and watch. And maybe people out there claim they know exactly how things are going to go. And of course, often, all of the time, actually, it's either a wild guess and they get lucky, or it's a systematic approach of identifying and understanding how the market forces work and move. And, but even they are not 100% accurate. Nothing can be 100% accurate inside this crazy little world of ours, right? And of course, we are going to see that as things progress. So only future will be able to tell us of how well did we do? Did we predict correctly or not? Now, people don't know what they're doing. They tend to be more accurate than not. However, they're not accurate all the time, 100%. So we're going to be talking about gold prices. We're going to be talking about the dollar. We're going to be talking about crypto and where it's going. And of course, there's an exclusive interview that was held with the OKX CEO, Jay Howe. And we're going to be looking over that interview and seeing what he has to say. Because, hey, I'm all for listening to people that are in the space 24/7, 365 for years. So let's take a look at what they have to say. And of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about the scam that is happening within the crypto industry. And no, it's not Sushi Swap this time around. It's actually something very, very different that I think it's important for us to talk about, especially if you're brand new to the crypto and you're just trying to figure out how the heck do I do this whole crypto thing. So you want to be absolutely aware of these things. Let's do this. All right, it is Monday. It is Labor Day, so happy Labor Day to you. Hopefully, you have time to grill, hang out, just, be safe out there. You don't want to be on a 6 o'clock news as like the person, the party that started it all, right? So let's not be that. Let's not be that. We got some news that, some of the wildfires in California allegedly have started with the parties. Yikes. We've also gotten some news that allegedly some extra cases and people sick and dying because they got sick at the weddings and parties and stuff. You don't want to be responsible for that. Well, I don't know. Maybe you do because I don't really know you, but I don't. I don't at all. But let's talk a little bit about money. And before we go into it, let's take a look at what's been going on in the crypto market and really kind of take a look at stuff. So, as of yesterday, the Bitcoin actually has dropped down, and we're down almost 2%. When it comes to Ethereum, it's down 3.6%. Tether is whatever. XRP is down 2.4. Chainlink is actually slightly up, not a whole lot. Bitcoin Cash, so you will see it's sort of like a mixed day, predominantly reddish yet again. Yet again, predominantly reddish. And if we take a look at the 24-hour change, you will see that Ocean Protocol has actually performed rather well, and it's the only one with the double-digit gains, and it's 13.43%. Then BitShare is at 8%, Yuma up 7.4, and XM up just shy of 7, 6.95. Ampleforth is up 4.38, Balancer up 4.1. And then after that, we get into the twos, ones, zeros, and then we switch negatives. You can see not a whole lot of green stuff happening right now. When it comes to the reds, well, hedge trade is winning, or shall I say losing, negative 22.37%. Then we go to reserve rights at negative 13.84. Thorchain down 12.2. OMG network down 12.06. DeFi money negative 11.28. Serum negative 11.2. Yearn finance down slightly over 10%. Sushi swap down 9.5%. And anyways, it just kind of keeps on going down. So this is what's happening inside the crypto world. And now I want to switch us over to gold. And, there are sort of articles and conversations of, will gold go up? Will it go down? Some people are very, very bullish on gold. I tend to be one of them on the long term. Short term, I have no clue how it's going to go. But I do think that the long term, it does have some potential to kind of act a little bit as a safety net. I could be crazy. I could be wrong. None of stuff that I'm sharing here with you is or should be used as financial advice. If you need financial advice, you need to find a legitimate financial advisor who is licensed to serve in that role and then work with them. Of course, you want to find somebody that is on your side, that understands and listens to you, that is not just going to try to sell your product so that they can make funds. And preferably, just my thinking is you want to work with somebody who actually is doing the same stuff they're telling you to do. Obviously, not exactly the same, because age and expectations and money and all of that stuff plays a large part into what you can or cannot do and what they can and cannot do, right? So it's not going to be exactly the same. But what I'm saying is, if they're saying, oh, I'm very bullish on bond, well, are you in bond? And if not, can you explain why not, right? Oh, you should definitely sell real estate. Okay, cool. Do you own any real estate? How much experience do you have in it? Why do you say that? Why do you not? So you want to ask questions. You don't want to just sit there like a rock and they say, all right, jump. And you're like, all right, start jumping. So, ask some questions. Use the opportunity to engage with this individual to learn as much as you can, because that's part of the process, or at least should be part of the process, that you're learning something along the way. Anyways, back on to the topic at hand. Many people have been talking about, well, gold will potentially go up much, much higher. Some people are saying, well, it's going to be a $10,000, $11,000 gold. Some people are saying, no, this thing is going to crash. It's going back down to 1,000. So it's very unknown. Nobody knows exactly where this thing is going to go. So I have found this article to kind of help us paint yet another picture. So let's get painting. So gold prices are currently trading at $1,933 per ounce. It's roughly that, right? Like it varies, right? So as of the writing of the article, of course, it was that, I'm sure of it. But that's kind of where we are. We're roughly in the 1930s. I think it's gone a little bit up, so it might be higher 1930s. And as a matter of fact, as they say, Nev, don't be lazy. Uh, you know, let's take a look. Let's take a look at where we are. All right, so slightly down. 1929. Ooh, ominous, ominous. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Silver is at 26.75. The gold silver ratio is at 72. So, anyways, slightly lower, but like I said, we were roughly around there, not far from the historical high of 2075, which is a 26.5% gain year to date. And rally represents the sharpest gain the metal has mustered in more than a decade. Wall Street and investors alike continue to be extremely bullish about gold, which some lick their chops in predicting that the yellow metal could touch absurd levels as high as $3,000 and even $5,000 per ounce. Bank of America said that they expect the gold to hit 3,000 by early 2022. And that is true. I think I want to say they said 3,000 or 3,500. I can't remember, but let's all say 3,000. So by early 2022, that gives us just a little bit over 12 months. So let's say, I don't know, like 15 months maybe, which would be another what $1,000, a little bit over $1,000 to reach it. And it's not necessarily completely impossible, especially when you take a look that we were right around the thousand or so when the whole thing started. So, you know, well, not when the whole thing started, but the beer overflow, but when we started to kind of shift things around. So it's absolutely possible. Citigroup believe that 5,000 is not in the crosshairs. Now, of course, they're saying, well, we're not quite sure what's going on. So here is the chart, right? And here was the March, and we were kind of taking on up, and then we took a dive down with everything and everyone else, right? And then it started to sort of chugga, chugga, chugga. It was nicely going up. Then all of a sudden in August, right, in late July or mid July into like early August, it went much sharper up. To me, when I saw this, just like kind of this sharper up over here, you see where my mouse is moving in mid March to like early April, early to mid April, it was a fairly sharp rise, and we had to go sideways for a while, right? So I think that that's kind of where we are right now. We went up too high. We got to go sideways for a while and then potentially go up. But again, is it going to go that way? I got nothing, man. I got nothing. I have no clue. Gold markets tend to flourish during times of deep and economic crisis when bonds offer flat or negative returns or stock markets become too choppy. Well, we are very much in deep economic crises. We are in uncertain times, right? So those are the two bullish things for the gold, in my humble opinion, right? Then we do have bonds that are offering super flats, and in real terms, even potentially negative interest rates, which does kind of make you wonder of like, do I want to keep all of my money there or do I want to go somewhere else, right? So that's one. And then you have the stock market. It's too choppy, and it is kind of choppy, right? And it is very uncertain. And yes, it's been going up, but on Thursday, Friday, we actually saw it kind of come down a bit or a lot, depending on the stock or what you're looking at. And those are sort of the troublesome water. Of course, then they don't price in what's going on with the economic thing, which makes it super uncertain. So it's all of that paints a price or paints a good picture for gold to potentially do move up. Several months ago, World Bank sounded the alarm that the crisis was likely to plunge the economy into the worst recession since World War II. And that was a pretty bad time. And now we're saying it's going to get even worse. The dollar has actually been going down, but I do expect that the dollar is going to go up. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Nev, you are absolutely bonkers crazy. You just said gold is going to potentially go up, but now you're saying dollar is going to go up. Those cannot go up together. Sure they can. They always can. It doesn't last for forever, right? But example being right over here. I don't have the dates here, but we can see that this is March, and we had for a little while. This is May, so then this has to be April. So we had for a little while where dollar and gold were going up at the same time. Now, of course, dollar has come down, but we're also getting some news and reports. You see, kind of it's gone down. It's now consolidating down, and the reason I think that the dollar could still go up potentially, again, my crystal ball broke. I got nothing, not a financial advice, but the reason I'm thinking the dollar could go up is because that much of the international trade is still settled in dollars, right? And so the foreign countries that are doing international trade now that it's back up and sort of opened, I guess, they need dollars to be able to actually pay for the stuff, right? And so we are seeing some of the news and reports of like, oh, China is dumping the bonds. Well, when they sell it, they get dollars for it. So is it possible that they're dumping because they don't want to participate in dollar, or is it possible that they're dumping because they need to sell, right? Trade their bond holdings for dollars so they can receive dollars and pay their bills, right? So I think both are possible. What the truth is, I don't know. But I do know that folks are probably going to share all kinds of crazy stories to support their narratives. And I don't really know which one is, but I do know that dollars, the real dollars, like physical dollars to pay stuff, there's a scarcity. And I know you're also thinking like you're crazy, Nav. The Fed just printed. Well, sort of. They kind of put it on the bank's balance sheets because they didn't print and send it to me, right? I mean, we did get that one little stimulus check thing, whatever, months ago. And there's a conversation of potentially getting another one. I don't know. I still think that UBI is going to be a real thing coming to the neighborhood near you soon. Not guaranteed, but that's really where I think is going to happen because that's kind of the only way we could get ourselves out of this hot mess and prevent massive riots and all the other stuff that we're seeing. So uh, that's kind of where I think might happen. But because all of this stuff is going on and the money, while sort of printed, it's not really printed, but it's sitting on the books, it's sitting within the banks, and banks have to actually lend it into the existence, and that is how money goes out. Well, they're not really lending, and people are not really borrowing, so there's still this shortage potentially of dollars, which could make the dollar price start ticking on up. And this morning, I actually took a really quick look at the forex, and the dollar is actually up against every major currency except for yuan, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but do fact check me. So when I checked it about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, that's what the story was. It was actually moving on up. It was in the green, with the exception of one currency, as I had mentioned. So, anyways, the real end game. Gold prices flirting with five-digit prices would likely be a very bad place to be. Such levels would imply hyperinflation and possibly 1970s style stagflation in the US. And many people are kind of talking about that is a high potential of what could transpire. It would imply exceptional political and social unrest. Well, we do have that. And would push the country into a true hyperinflation debt spiral with pretty much all commodity prices skyrocketing. Will that happen? Will it not? I don't know. Only time will tell. But there are many people that are talking about potential hyperinflation because all of the money has been created, hasn't been lent, it hasn't been circulating. But when and if it does and it stays at that high level, it does have a potential to get us there, right? So we cannot discount it completely, right? And then is it possible there could be this stagflation where things are not growing but everything is getting expensive? Sure, we could see that as well, but again, only time will tell what will happen. If gold prices started to approach 10,000, the dollar would probably lose its status as the world's preeminent currency. Possible? I don't know. In desperation, governments would likely resort to dirty tricks, including imposing currency controls on any form of money crossing their borders or even confiscating private citizens' bullion like they did during the Great Depression or right afterwards or whatever, right? In the 30s and then 70s and all that crazy stuff. Anyways, so yeah, they can definitely do that, and we see the governments do that all over the place all the time, right? Where they impose all of the bans, and that is sort of ends up being bullish. Maybe not for bullion, right? But it's definitely bullish for crypto. So that's kind of where we're talking about all of these different things, all in the same day. Now, here is another report that's kind of been coming up, and Jim Rickards, no, Jim Rogers, sorry. Different kind of Jim, different kind of Jim. Uh, Jim Rogers is saying that, hey, something will replace the US dollar. And Jim Rickards also said that the US dollar is going to be replaced, and he's saying it's going to special drawing rights, the basket of currencies that is kind of used to back up sort of everything, right? So he's saying that that's what's going to come in. Jim Rogers is saying something's going to replace it. He just doesn't know what. Um, Actually, he kind of alludes to it. So the image says everything. The word thousand words, right? Uh, the dollar is on the brink of losing status as the world main reserve currency. Prominent U.S. investor Jim Rogers told RT. National debt over to 26.5 trillion. The U.S. is now the largest debtor nation in the history. Traditionally, the U.S. dollar has been the soundest currency in the world, but tradition changes. And then he went in, I guess, to talk about the fate of British pound and Dutch guilder. As you may or may not recall from history, hopefully you're not that old, because that would make you a couple centuries, right? Well, not for British pound, but definitely for Dutch guilder. They were at one point, right? Dutch guilder was the world. It was really Europe, but world reserved currency, right? and Netherlands was like the thing, right? And then Spain was the thing, and then Great Britain was the thing, and now US is the thing, and they're saying the thing always changes and moves around. So is it possible? Sure, anything is possible because, while the history doesn't always repeat itself, it definitely does rhyme. Dollar may still show strength next year, and that's what he's saying. But then after that, it's going to be the last shot. So again, I don't know. Anything is possible. Comments come in the wake of a report in the Global Times in which local experts said that Beijing will likely reduce its debt holdings by 20% from 1 trillion to 800 billion amid current tension. And what they're talking about that they're going to do that, they're going to actually sell their bonds, right? We just talked about that stuff. Are they going to dump the US debt because they're just trying to get out, or are they selling it because they need dollars? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, that's kind of what's going on. Now, they're saying that if it's going to put a pressure in the interest rates in the US, Rogers believe, and the rates should be going up. Now, is that going to happen? Is that not going to happen? Who the heck knows? Nobody really knows. He's just using his knowledge and expertise to share it, and we are here to learn. If they sell US debt, they sell dollars. Well, sorta, but not really, right? If they sell US debt, they actually will get US dollars unless they sell it to somebody else and get a different kind of fiat currency, right? Or they could potentially trade a debt for gold, I don't know, or some sort of crypto. Who knows? Who knows? Therefore, their currency goes higher. Potentially, maybe not. Who knows? Again, it's not. I don't think it's that simple. I think it's a simplified way of looking at it, but I don't think it's that simple. Could be wrong again. According to the new forecast by Morgan Stanley, Beijing's push for greater use of yuan internationally may make it the world's third largest reserve currency within a decade, reaching 5 to 10% of reserve assets by 2030. Now, yuan already is, or renminbi or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Why does he have three different names? I don't know that. I should probably look that up. I should probably know that, but I don't. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So, it already is part of the SDR currency basket, right? So could it go higher potential valuation? Sure, anything is possible. And I mean, they are going into this whole crypto thing. They potentially do have gold. So could they get there? Absolutely. I think anything is possible. Will it become a reserve currency? Again, I don't know. Anything is possible. I just don't know that very many people or countries trust their government, and part of the money is also you have to trust it, right? So and when you trust nobody, that's where the part where you go to gold, I guess. um, so that's kind of where I'm sitting now. We talked about a couple of different things, and we talked about what is going on, and that gold could be the thing, money sort of could be the thing. Dollar could go up, it could go down. We don't really know. All of it is uncertain. And so another one is that potentially crypto could be the thing, right? So they did a poll over in Argentina, and just 73.4% of the folks that were well, it says of Argentinians, but it's those in Argentina that would surveyed, right? So I don't know that they surveyed all of the country, but those that were surveyed, did believe that cryptocurrency will be best protection for that asset. Over 73 participants in a recent poll voted that cryptocurrencies are the most efficient saving mechanism. Argentina was one of the first nations in the region to introduce nationwide lockdown a few months ago, right? In April 2020, it displayed a drop of 26.4% compared to the same month the previous year in raw GDP. In May, when strict measures were loosened, the percentage dropped by 20.6%. Of course, excuse me, a little bit of coffee never hurt anybody. Okay, well, maybe it did, but I can handle it. Anyways, so every country around the world has experienced some sort of GDP drop, right? And we have seen that happen all over the place. And it's not unheard of or unusual to see that when you shut down the entire world, the entire economy Of course, what do you expect? It's going to go up magically? Like, it's not. It's going to take a long time to get that engine back up and going and moving. So entire world is going to be showing lower GDP, lower GDP, lower GDP. We see it in Germany, in France, in Italy, Spain, U.S., China, Japan, Brazil, Argentina. You name the country, they are down. The world is down, right? So it's normal. So it's not a shocker. But what they did is they did a survey, and the country had a breath of fresh air as it successfully restructured almost all of its $65 billion in debt with private creditors, which is kind of cool that they were able to do this because they owed a lot of money. So they restructured it, and 99% of creditors accepted the offer to extend maturities of debt and lower interest rate payments from an average of 7% to about 3%. This is very cool because over time, they'll be able to save up more. Well, it's not really save, but they're not spending as much. So it's almost like saving, right? Despite the recent positive news, it seems that Argentinians are already looking outside the traditional finance space for a solution. Out of 1,113 survey participants, it's not like everybody in the country, right? But it's a sample size, right? Is it significant? Not, I don't know. You can tell me that. I don't think it is, but I think it's a good insight in what people might be thinking. 73.4% voted that cryptocurrencies are the most effective way to save and protect their funds. Argentinians tend to steer clear from the local currency as the Argentinian peso has lost nearly 90% of its value against the US dollar in the last 5 years alone. And you can see kind of what has happened, right? And we've seen that kind of go down, and it's really, really sad to see that. But of course, in countries like this, like Argentina, where their currency is losing value all the time, what they'll end up doing is they want to own gold, they want to own US dollar, they will likely switch over some to euro, right? But US dollar might be easier for them to get, although euro could potentially be relatively easy. And of course, it makes sense that population will jump into cryptos. 70% of survey added that they had invested at least once in some digital asset, and the voters answered that they had purchased BTC after evaluating its global potential and singled out its decentralized nature as significant merit. 49% brought out that the asset could provide enhanced security. The P2P or peer-to-peer digital asset exchange, namely local bitcoins, has experienced a surge in Bitcoin trading volume from Argentinians. And you can kind of see that there's like a little uptick over here, and it's been going up, and you can see that it definitely gone up. We've come down since then, but you can see that they definitely did have a surge. Now, I can't really see the dates because this thing is super tiny. Maybe if you press it, no, nope, no, it doesn't. All right, well, time to go in and take a look at the scam, because every time you have new thing going on, new technology, new movement, way to make money, all of that stuff, there's going to be scamsters, and then there's going to be those who don't understand. They just listen to them. They see the pretty little website, they don't do the due diligence research. Next thing you know, they get themselves in trouble by giving money and getting scammed out of it. So, Texas State Securities Board has issued an emergency cease and desist order against the Bitcoin Pope trader under allegations of fraudulent cryptocurrency investment. Eric Bausek, along with his associate Kumar Gondesi, had been promoting misleading cryptocurrency investment services through their company Forex Birds. They were guaranteeing subscribers 100% profit in monetary gains. All right. When you see this is the reason why I put it in the blue. When you see that somebody's saying, I guarantee 100% profit in monetary gains, run. Right? Now, is it possible? Sure. Do I talk about that some of the methods that I use in my own way have a potential to give you 2, 3, 5, even 10x return? Yes. Does it sound weird? Yes. Do I guarantee it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm just saying it's possible. Now, you could get, I don't know, you could lose all of the money. You could get 5% only, 20%, 50%. Anything is possible is what I am saying. It's just when I look at the stuff and look at the potential of what he has, then I'm saying, yeah, cool, but a lot of it depends on a lot of other things, and of course you could lose all of it. So I never guarantee that you're going to make the money. I'm just saying it's possible, and I have done a few of those things, but I've also lost money, right, when I didn't know what I was the heck I was doing. So anyways, but I don't guarantee it. So whenever you see somebody's guaranteeing that you are going to make money, there's no way you can lose it. That's a scary one for me personally. But then again, what the heck do I know? Forex Birds claims to be affiliated with global exchange giant Forex and to leverage the service of UBS's liquidity provider. It backed its legitimacy but claiming that registered with European as well as Australian Securities and Investment Commission. Verified by the St. Vincent Finance Services Authority, Texas State Securities Board found all claims to be false. Lies, 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 lies. Like not even just sort of twisting it, like just plain old lie. Texas law enforcement demanded an immediate shutdown of the fraudulent crypto investment scam. Now, the Bitcoin Pope allegedly touted Forex Bird services and said that potential investors could earn 5% profit after just 24 hours of investing. Should Bitcoin Pope fail to comply with the cease and desist order, he may be facing 10 years in prison, up to 10 years in prison, and fine of up to $10,000. 2 days after the issuance of cease and desist order, forest birds were reported to still be up and running. Last week, a California man was charged with conspiracy to engage in wire fraud in connection to BitClub Network. The company was found to operate through a Ponzi scheme, falsely misleading investors by claiming that Bitcoin mining earning could be generated through BitClub Network cryptocurrency mining pool. The fraudulent crypto scam is said to have generated at least $722 million. Ouch. Yeah. So you want to be very careful, okay? I don't have anything against cryptocurrencies. I don't have anything against people in cryptocurrencies making money and stuff as long as it's legit. So you definitely want to verify and check stuff. You don't have to get into these like crazy scam stuff. You don't have to go into these like 5 coins to 5 million and right, like, guys, seriously, just there are plenty of channels, free and paid, depends on which one you want to take, that you can go in and learn. Buying something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's stupid easy, right? It's a few steps in the process, but it is very, very easy and very, very simple. You go in with one of the verified exchanges that are audited, right? Then you go in, they'll ask you all this stuff. You're going to have to register KYC. Know your customer is the law that they have to abide by so that you can get into the crypto. Once you do that, they basically connect your wallets, right, that they're on the exchange stuff, and you connect it with your bank account or your credit card, and you press a button. It's that simple. If you want to learn about cryptocurrencies and stuff, it's absolutely free. I claim nothing. I guarantee nothing. But if you go to onedealaway.com and just go into Crypto 101, it's a free course that explains kind of how it works, how you can get into it, just gives you an overview, big picture overview, just so that you have an understanding so you're not being taken advantage of. It is absolutely free, 100% free. It's nothing is being sold. It's just really there to help you understand, give you a perspective of kind of how these things run, right? And if you like things for free, and if you like what we're doing here on Money Matters and conversations that we have, then smash that like button. Help me out. It really, really, if you're watching on YouTube, of course, but it really irks me that you have these channels that are promoting all kinds of fake stuff, all kinds of scam stuff, all kinds of, like they're sitting there flashing their, dollars that they probably are not even real, or that maybe they went and borrowed and they're going to give it back to the bank the very next day, that are sitting in some sort of leased car and a leased, yacht or whatever. I know it's flashy, but it's silly. It's absolutely silly, and they give, some of the advice has just been a horrible, horrible advice. And the only way that they make money is by actually selling you in some weird products or affiliate, or they do the crazy marketing stuff trying to get in. So it really, really upsets me that some of the educational channels are not getting what they should be getting as far as the audience. and yet the scammy weird ones are getting all kinds of stuff. But I guess that's the times that we're in. So help me out to help more people. Let's help people stay away from the scams that we just talked about over here. Now, what's going on with the DeFi stuff? And I told you that Crypto Potato, well, I didn't say that, but I did say there was an interview with OKX CEO Jay Howe talking about, what's going on in the current crypto world. And this is coming out of Crypto Potato. And the update was on August 30th. So we're about a week behind. So it's not exactly, but it is pretty darn close. It's not like, months or years ago. OKX has become one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the past several years. Crypto Potato recently had the opportunity to do an exclusive interview with the CEO of the company, Jay Howe. Right? See, so a little bit of history about Jay. He spent over 20 years in semiconductor industry, and what he said is that we are very rigorous about ensuring that we provide the most reliable and secure exchange services. I have zero tolerance for faulty trading product features. No matter how minor a new feature is, we run multi levels of QA tests on it before the release. This is coming from How. So it's kind of lovely to see that you want to have the tests that are being run. And part of the things that we're seeing, some of the stuff with DeFi, which is why we're bringing this article up, is that they don't always test. They just kind of slap something together by finding the code and then just release it, and have no clue what you're getting yourself into. I think there's some positive things about all of those different things, but you definitely want to test it. That's just my personal opinion. Now, he also spent years in video streaming sector and owned his own companies before getting into blockchain, and said that this is helping him become a better manager. The industry has come a long way since back then, and he loves the fast-paced environment, that constant innovation we see daily. And boy, do we see it. I mean, right? Things come in, things go out. Like, it's always moving. It's very, very exciting, actually. And for me, it's personally, this is Nev, not How. This is Nev speaking. For me personally, for Nev personally, it's really kind of cool because it's in a complete contrast of what we see with some of the other markets, right? So, like, real estate market is very slow moving overall. Now, the cool part about real estate is that when you're about to go buy or sell something, like, nothing happens, and then you got to sprint, and then it's like nothing happens, and then you got to sprint, right? And so it's these, like, moments that, like, it's dead, like nothing has happened. You're like, are we selling, are we buying? Like, nobody called, nothing's going on. In the background, things are happening, but, like, you're not getting, like, it's not a constant thing going on, right? So you can get a little bit of, like, oh my gosh, what's happening, what's going on here, right? But then when things land, you were like, you have 10 days to evaluate, to do this, to do this, to do this. All right, you have 24 hours to wire the money. Like, everything happens super, super fast. And so it's kind of like very, very interesting. And then you have things like gold, for example. It's like you buy it and then nothing, still nothing, right? Like, it's right, like, completely dead. There's no sprinting at all. Like, it's just sort of like, and nothing. Yeah. And then you go into something like crypto, and it's like constant things happening, and it's like always development, and there's new stuff going on, and new stuff happening here, and this right, like, and it's such a, like, a busy thing, kind of always kind of developing and happening, that it's very, very cool. And so you have this, like, really weird economies of, like, super fast and stuff with, like, a super slow, and I don't know. For me personally, I kind of like it because it gives me ability to do a little bit of everything. So, anyways, as we saw from a huge sell-off in March this year, no market, including gold, was unaffected. We have been very uncharacteristic volatility in equities. We have seen very uncharacteristic volatility in equities, while Bitcoin has remained flat and locked in a 9 to 10,000 trading range for 2 months, right? And then, of course, we've gone up and kind of come down, right? So we've definitely lost some traction in it, and doing this weird consolidation. And as I have mentioned, right here, right, where's the thing? Where's the thing? Come on, thing. Right, we are at that the low 10,000 level, right? So, and if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart right here, right, and this is obviously the entire chart, but let's just take a look at the 3 month right now, right? we were going sideways, right? Then we've kind of gone up, kind of gone sideways. Now we're coming down. How low are we going to go? I don't know. But that's one too many rhyming words. But I think it's going to kind of go sideways, and then it has a potential because when you take a look at it on the year spectrum, for example, you can see moment it loads, you can see that we kind of have this like beautiful U formation. As you know, I really, really like those. And even though we're kind of going down, I still see this potential to go on up. So again, still long-term bull. And then when you take a look at the entire market, which, we don't have to even go that far, you still see very, very clear triangle pattern, right? If you connect dots from here to here and to here, right, you can see that it's going on up. And when you connect the dot over here, the top, right over here, where my mouse is, then over here and over here, then you can see that we're getting into this triangle or funnel kind of pattern, which is still very, very, very bullish pattern. Okay, so I focus on long term, but short term, of course, makes sense to take a look at anyways. Uh, so there's still a long ways to go for both the beer overflow and the development of crypto, right? So everything is still uncertain. Now, they were touching on the DeFi as specific topic, and he stated that accelerated trend that was inevitable anyways. So he was saying that this DeFi space was inevitable anyways. It's just that it accelerated it really quickly, and more people will turn to sound money, which he's calling sound money the cryptocurrencies, and a chance to make returns through DeFi or decentralized finance. Now, we strongly believe that DeFi has potential to achieve the goal of finance all and provide billions of unbanked people with access to financial services. And I agree with that. I think that there's still potential. Right now, it's predominantly speculative. Like we've had some innovation within the space. Right now, it's a lot of it is speculation, and it's very bubblicious in my personal and humble opinion. This is Nev speaking, not Hal. So let me change the screen so that you know it's Nev speaking, not the CEO of OKX. Um, I think it's a bubblicious territory, right? People are sort of swapping out of this, out of that. I think that there's definitely some future and stuff for it, but right now it seems like the focus is you create some sort of food name thing, you put it out there, you put it on edited, uncensored, unaudited, untested, right? And sort of like let it go, tell some sort of narrative, people sort of FOMO in on it because they think that it's going to do this crazy thing. Then you sort of like go in, cash that thing out, cash into ETH, disappear into ether or space, as they say, and that's that. So for me, I think that where we are right now, it's going to shift and change because it has to. DeFi has a lot of potential. What we're seeing, the most recent thing happening, it's not really DeFi. It's just people trying to milk money out of the system. That's just my personal thing. But let's see what he has to say. The exchange, OKX is basically saying that he's like the validator, one of the first validators for each 2.0 Topaz testnet because they want to stay on the forefront of the whole thing. The exchange also allows its users to generate a passive income through C2C loan future for which they can use BTC, ETH, and OKB for collateral and basically go in and borrow and lend money and that kind of stuff, right? As for DeFi craze itself, they pointed out that as with every altcoin season, many people will lose money while others will win. If the DeFi bubble temporarily bursts, that will actually be good for BTC and ETH, Bitcoin and Ethereum. If the craze does fizzle out, it will only be short-term. Potential and promise of DeFi are simply too compelling to ignore. I agree, but I also think that a little bit more of development kind of has to come into the space and things kind of have to calm down a tad. How the picture of the space in 5 years from now, the ecosystem will have grown massively. I agree. More innovative products and solutions will come in. I agree. And I think it's more everyday people are going to come in and start using it without even know that they're using the blockchain. I agree. User interface side of the technology will be particularly enhanced. Protocols such as Polkadot and other it will allow for seamless interoperability of blockchain, while ETH 2.0, OKChain, and other decentralized public blockchain will have grown exponentially, making it much easier for developers to build wild-scale mainstream dApps. Bitcoin and its development in terms of pricing, he's saying anything is possible. We could realistically see a short-term burst of the DeFi bubble. If the global economic situation worsens, we could see another March-like event that could cause issues for Bitcoin as well. This will only be temporarily and the price will recover quickly. It's not impossible that we see a Bitcoin price at least testing its 2017 highs in the next 12 to 18 months. So, there you go. This is the news for today when it comes to money. Again, do me a huge favor, smash that like button, do subscribe, and hit the bell button, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you are only one deal away.